place for you. Don't need to complicate it. It's best to keep it basic. Open the book, the word itself approved. He's Alpha and Omega, the answer since the early ages. What you should do is learn about the greatest. Just so you know, our door is always open. Let's study together instead of debating. Share our differences. Let love heal all that's broken. If you need truth, this is the place for you. Don't need to complicate it. It's best to keep it basic. Open the book, the word itself approved. He's Alpha and Omega, the answer since the early ages. What you should do is learn about the greatest. Just so you know, our door is always open. Let's study together instead of debating. Share our differences. Let love heal all that's broken.
And shalom to each and every one of you. So glad to have you with us. Welcome to the proceeding word. This is yours truly, Apostle V.W. Jones, right here. And it is Monday. Oh, I'm sorry. Today is actually Wednesday. So that's a good thing to keep in mind. I'm sorry about the delay, you guys, on Clubhouse. We also had you guys in our ear rather than on our program, but we're glad to have you all today. This is an opportunity to, again, talk about, discuss, and look at a great deal of things that are within the word for our practical daily lives. Remembering, man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Yahweh, who is, in fact, our Elohim. So we want to make sure that we understand that today. And while we're here, as we want to talk about it, today we got an interesting broadcast for you, and it's going to be dealing with a lot of what's going on. Now, I want to make sure, I was hoping to have more people in the rooms today. Moderators, if you could, make it your business to moderate the rooms, I appreciate it. Those of you on Facebook, please make sure you hit the heart sign, like the page, VWJ Ministries, then like the broadcast you're on. As well, if you're on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button and hit the bell so you can be notified when we go live. And of course, you can make a comment up there as well. We want to make sure today that we understand there's a time out here. So I'm going to drop something on y'all today after I pray. So that we can get into the word of Yahweh, who is our Elohim. And we're going to have a little bit of we're going to have our Bible up today, but I got a couple of tiles I want to make sure you guys get a chance to see. And there are just a few of you on today. I guess it's, work day and everybody's out on the highlight day of this day. And I'm hoping that you all are not getting consumed with it. It is, in fact, an issue that everyone should pay attention to. And we want to make it our business to stay focused. Remember, you can't live in this world the way you can live fully, except you live by his word, which made everything you and I know. Now, why do I bring that up, and what's the goal of this? I want to make sure that you understand living by the word of Elohim is life, flat out. So let's take opportunity to pray, and then we'll get right into the word. Father, thanking you for another opportunity to share your word, to express your way. I pray you that you would decrease anything and everything that is me. First off, I take opportunity. I know I've not sinned, but I take opportunity to repent for any possible sin. Maybe I judged since my last time of conversation and prayer with you. Maybe I've coveted in my mind, didn't realize it. Maybe I've murmured. Maybe I've complained. I know that, Father, my life is right in you. And in this moment, it's right in you. In the blood of Yeshua, I gladly accept over my heart, mind, body, and soul. And I plead that blood on myself. And I pray that most praying with me do the same, taking opportunity to repent for anything we could have done in thought, in deed, omission, or commission. Because we want to be in right stead with you. Yeshua HaMashiach, you are our access to Elohim, his glory, whereby we can obtain grace. We believe Yahweh raised you from the dead, Yeshua HaMashiach. We believe that you literally sit in his right hand right now, making intercession for we humans left on this planet. And we thank you for your finished work. We thank you for your, as we like to say, end sample, your demonstration, your manifestation of a life lived in human flesh by the direction of the divine word of Elohim. Thank you for the ensample. We bless you, we exalt you, and we extol you forevermore. Now, we know that man doesn't live by bread alone. You said that in Devarim, and in the passage of Devarim, you made it very clear. We don't live by bread alone. We live by every word that proceeds out of your mouth. You could make bread out of anything for us to live. And we want to thank you for that. So today, teach this lesson as I give it you and help us to understand the value of wanting to, in fact, sleep on it. So Yahweh, as I take your word in and everything that I deal with today, help me, help us to think about and then say, let me sleep on it. This I pray in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach. We all say it. We pray it. Amen. All right, everybody, as you've been told, just a little bit of a leeway and hit up on that. We are dealing with a message today, a conversation, a topic today, and it is deemed and in fact considered and will be, as you know it, let me sleep on it. Now, many of us don't realize the significance of that, but I tell you right now that Elohim has a design power and a function of sleep for the human being and its ultimate benefits to the children of his kingdom. They also drastically, greatly reflect Sabbath and what Sabbath keeping is all about and what Sabbath keeping can always and shall always be to us. So I want you to think about this as we get into it and give yourself a second. So what does this mean? Let me sleep on it. Well, you remember back in the day when people would say, hey, just let me sleep on that for a minute. I heard what you said, but let me sleep on it. We might be in a board meeting. We might say, let's table that for another day, right? And so we would do that with the understanding that we're going to come back to that. Right now, today we're going to unveil something right after this announcement that I think is very important. And the significance of it would be that Elohim has put rest, and I will say random eye movement stage of sleep into the human normal function for a reason. I mean, a humongous reason, as well as he has put the seventh day of Sabbath into humanity's function for a similar reason. All right. The first one, the REM, which is called the random eye movement stage of sleeping, usually kicks in after about 2.5, maybe 3 hours, and when you've really gone in, those light sleeping moments, you don't enter into random eye movement. And literally, if you watch someone sleeping in that stage, you can see their eyes moving and their head back and forth, and it's funny because it sort of kind of reminds you of a computer. And it really does act like a computer. So naturally, when we don't, actually get the opportunity to rest right, our brains don't really do its job the way it was intended. We actually limit the actual potential of our body's self-preserving function. Now, I'm going to deal with the natural, and then we're going to go into the spiritual of this as well. But for those of you who are tuning in, y'all mind if I just take a moment? No, let me just stay here. No sense in humor right now. I'll deal with that at towards the end of this. But welcome to each of you who are coming from all over the world. We're glad to have you with us, and we praise Yahweh for your lives. So let's talk about this random eye movement. Now, I'm going to bring up some of the stuff that we talk about here on the broadcast. What are the benefits of random eye sleep, random eye movement? What do we gain from it? What does it mean for us? Well, REM sleep is characterized by relaxed muscles, which render quick eye movement, irregular breathing, elevated heart rate, and increased brain activity. Most adults need about 2 hours of REM sleep each night. REM sleep plays a role in memory consolidation, emotional processing, and brain development, as well as a major contributor to a dream state. Now, this is what we found on a program called sleepfoundation.org. You can go there and read more about randomized sleep. There are several different places you can get very good information, particularly if you go to certain websites. Everything on the internet is not good and true, but this Sleep Foundation studies sleep, the habits of it, through multiple colleges and Ivy League colleges and other places that specialize in the study of sleep. And there was a book I was rendered. I tried to find it. I don't know where I misplaced it. I remember grabbing it to hold it and bring it to you guys and suggest it to you. It was given to me as a gift. And I read through it, and I just loved the way that it helped me understand sleeping. But the thing about that stage of sleep, people say that you need at least 2 hours, watch this, of random eye movement stage, REM, I call it REM, some say REM stage of sleeping per day. Now, what's this got to do with God? Why are you talking about this on the proceeding word? Watch, this is deep. So the recommendation here from Sleep Foundation is that you are to get, most adults need about 2 hours of REM sleep each night. Now, that's important, because it does not mean that you sleep for 2 hours and you're in REM. No, you take sometimes 2 to 3 hours to get into REM stage. And from what I've seen on most of the actual studies about sleep, it's more like 3 hours of actually letting your body shut down, and go through all the processes. Your breathing changes, your heart rate changes, your activity of your brain changes. So it triggers your eyes beneath your lids. And if you're ever watching somebody who's in that state and they're asleep or still, you can see their whole, you see their whole body take on different form. Pressure gets low, breathing gets more, shallow, or however it goes, it gets weird. It gets different. Some of y'all snore. Okay, the ladies, I can say they purr. All right, whatever. You're snoring. Okay, but however it works, your body changes because it's at rest. Now, I'm gonna talk about this spiritually, but I want to set a foundation naturally if I can. So, in that REM state, it's usually characterized by relaxed muscles. And like I say, there'll be quick eye movement. Sometimes they're irregular breathing. That's called snoring. Okay. That's just for fun. But you also get what they call an elevated heart rate that varies. And then you definitely have increased brain activity. Now, again, most adults need about 2 hours of REM sleep each night. And the REM sleep plays a major role in memory consolidation and emotional processing, as well as brain development and dreaming. Why is that important? Why are you laboring this point? And why are you being redundant on these particular facts? Here is why. Because when your brain, Elohim made your brain in a way that it can begin to literally organize everything about who you are as a human. Now, I'm going to use some analogies to bring them forward for us, and we can pay attention to them in a second. But when Elohim made the human body, before he gave man the Sabbath day, when Elohim made the human body, he made that matter called brain matter. And then there's electricity shooting through there. There are atoms and all the makeup, the cellular structure and makeup of the brain is amazing, how it controls signaling every part of your body using your spine, spinal cord, all the appendages. And the brain has the ability to literally help the healing process of your body when you properly rest. Because your body, basically the way Elohim made you, can actually heal itself. Now, let me say this right. I'm not telling you don't go to a doctor, don't get medical attention. That is not what we're advocating. We're just telling you, in the normal issues of like a cold or flu, but with the stuff we got today, you still get yourself medically checked out. There is a need to be medically inclined with your body, and the field of medicine and healthcare helps in dramatic ways to get you back to restoration. However, did you ever notice that when you go to a doctor for any issue at all, one of the most prescribed things. Does anybody know the most prescribed thing of a doctor in an infirmity that you've ever had? Do you know the most prescribed yet never talked about prescription that is the most effective for the doctor? Does anybody know what that prescription is? Anyone? No one?
Rest.
Who was that speaking? Say your name. Let me know who you are. Hi, Shalona. What'd you say?
I said rest.
Shalona says rest. Okay. Shalona says rest. Anybody else know that most prescribed yet, never talked about prescription that the doctor uses at the most effective rate in your body and your preparation? Does anybody have another statement other than hers? She says rest. Anyone else?
So this is Linda.
Go ahead, Linda.
It's always rest, and a lot of times they're going to tell you to hydrate no matter what.
Okay, rest and time to hydrate. So we're not going to belong this because we're on proceeding where our time windows are short, and I'm going to just ask a couple of questions. But here's the catch. It is rest. Think about it. Every surgery, every cold that they give you, what do they tell you to do? Go home and rest, hydrate, whatever, right? But at the end of every prescription, I don't care what the diagnosis, I don't care what the prognosis, and every single solitary prescription from your doctor is rest. Because even the doctors, though they won't tell you that because maybe they are just so caught up in the medicine of what they do and the science of what they do, which is an awesome things. Applaud your doctors. Thank Yahweh for them. Use them wisely when they give you diagnosis. Put them before the Father, filter through the word, but listen to your physicians. And I don't mean Dr. Google, and I don't mean Dr. Bing, and I don't mean Dr. DuckDuck. Okay. I'm talking about a physician, an MD, someone who has an actual degree or more in the field of science of the anatomy and how your body functions. But the thing about those very well-educated people is they always give you one prescription, no matter what else comes with the medicines or certain other manipulatives to bring your body to a restored state, whether it's a surgery, inpatient or outpatient surgery, whether it's some OT or PT, whether it is a cold, flu, epidemic, pandemic, whether it is a virus, whether it is cancers, whatever the diagnosis, the always present prescription is rest. Because your body is designed by Elohim when he made you to rest. So when you understand that scientists today have proven something that is very key and makes really an interesting connection to Sabbath, is that once you've taken on a illness, infirmity, the best way to get healed of that is to rest. The doctors will tell you those other things you might need to be amped up. They can help externally push up what you might be lacking. There may be a gap in some nutrition or nutrient that you're not having, or whatever it may be that helps you to fight off, help your immune system, or help your body repair itself. Or when it's bandaged, watch, when your body is bandaged, you got to, if you cut your leg or you break your ankle, they put it in a cast so that area of your body can rest, literally be still. Well, it's just keeping your, well, the cast is just keeping, the splint is just keeping that area still. No, it's causing it to rest so that it's not moving as much as it would if you were, just, it was healed. It was okay. So rest is literally the prescription within every prescription you will ever get. We just never paid attention to it. That's the Elohim factor. Watch. So when we talked about this, REM is recommended for most adults to have in that REM state and phase of sleeping at least 2 hours in it. So it's going to take 3 hours to get to it. It's recommended to have 2 hours of it. And then some even recommend an hour, wake up, it'll wear off in about 2 hours, or you can be in that state for 2 hours. And typically people are sleeping between 5 to 7, maybe 8 hours. And as you get older, you may even want to sleep longer, not in chopped up amounts of time during your day. Some people say, well, I sleep 2 hours in a day. I sleep 2 hours at night. I sleep 2 hours in the afternoon. I get 6 hours of sleep. You're taking power naps. You want to get into actually resting properly until you're in random eye movement phase of sleep. Why? Because your brain activity is heightened. Now, here's another benefit most people don't pay attention to when it comes to that brain activity when you enter REM state. Your body, while it's awake, takes in all type of data. Your eyes are in gates, your ears are in gates, your mouth is an in gate, your nose is an in gate. All right. Now, your mouth and your nose, they also are, exits, right? But you take in so much data through taste. You take in data through smell. You take in data through hearing. You take in data through your eyes, what you see. Then it transfers to your brain. And those optics begin to give you a translation that this is an image, and you get color, you get scent, you get smell, you get sense of taste. And your body also takes in touch. Your skin feels heat, cold. All that data gets processed. So here's what happens. This is what I love about Elohim. When you go to sleep for an REM state, your brain now begins to literally categorize and cache all that data you've taken in for you to have, watch this, proper recall at a time later. I talk about, years ago when I was raising my children, and all of them are very intelligent. Because they're very intelligent, but we would all, myself included, always have problems with taking tests. So it was one of my children, and I won't say which one. I'll probably slip it out later, but anyway, would, like me, cram for information, right? Let me help you with your practical daily living. Sometimes you and I, when we're taking tests, and your children, this is good for parents and grandparents to keep this in mind and watch your children around their work, their testings, whether they're taking exams for higher education institution, grad school, if they're taking, do this early with them. If they're in high school, junior, middle school, elementary school, as we call it in America, I forget what you call it, primary school, secondary school, institution, whatever. Taking tests, when people cheat taking the test, what they do is they'll cram. When people are inconsistent with studying, they will, like I did, cram, because the test they knew a week from now was going to happen, or 2 weeks from now was going to happen. And then as you are busy doing everything else, you're like, oh, I got time. And then you're 2 days before the test and you haven't studied anything, and you had 2 weeks to do it, right? Now you got 14 chapters you should have been reading over 2 weeks, because everything on your test is going to be in the text that the teacher, professor has given you, right? So what we do is we say, well, I got time. And we never read the 14 chapters. We may read it the first day, but then we'll put it off on something else to prioritize, and we'll go over and do what we do. Then you find, oh my God, I got an exam. Oh my God, I got a test coming up in 2 days. And guess what we do? We got 14 chapters along with the rest of our life, the rest of our subjects. This is for a student and or a non-working student, like a child, and a working student, like an adult, all of us. And we will cram those 2 days with those 14 chapters and all the external research, the cross-referencing that goes with that. So we'll try to get it all in, cram it all in. I'll just stay up all night and I'll get it. And we expect our brain to give us recall when the test comes. Now, this is what I find, and I think that everybody needs to get this, is that when you cram like that, yes, you're getting the information in. Absolutely, you are getting that information into your brain. It is coming into your brain, and your brain stores it in its memory cells. Here is the problem. Once you've crammed all of that in, but you didn't get sleep because now you got to get 14 chapters in, but your normal life that you have keeps you busy doing so much, right? And then you're cramming this 14 chapters in. You got 2 days to do it, and you don't sleep the first day. And then you've got this ancillary stuff, you got this extension of your 14 chapters along with your regular life issues, and now you don't sleep the next day. You grab 2 hours of sleep just to rest so you can get up and go to work, or just to rest so you can go to school, go to volleyball practice when you get done, go to church, do your Bible study, choir rehearsal, all those things, cook, do your chores, then you come back and you cram. So now you stay up at the hours you should be sleeping, saying, I'm gonna get this information, I'm gonna record it, I'm gonna get it, and you go in and you start cramming, and you do. You got the information. It is definitely inside of you. And you've even got a lot of the other research. You might got some questions, but you're good based on what you've studied to take that test. But you stop studying at 6 a.m. in the morning, and you got to be to school at 9, and you go to sleep until 8. And you know you studied all the information. Your test is at noon. Even if you go and get what they say, brain food, like we would prepare our children, make sure they had eggs, make sure they had a good protein, make sure they had good, proper, energetic carbohydrates, simple carbs and hydration, right? And we're giving them brain food. Here's the problem. Your brain can only compartmentalize all those chapters you studied and those cross-referencings if you sleep and enter into REM daily. Your brain is your biggest aid to memory. It is your memory component, but it works the way Elohim designed it. You can't keep moving all day, taking in data after data after data, ear, nose, eyes, throat, ear, nose, eyes, mouth, ear, nose, eyes, mouth, hand, touch, feel, skin, hot, hope. You can't take all that in without it having to come together and be organized by your brain. Yahweh is so amazing. Your brain is what gives you the ability to recall that 14 chapters you crammed in 2 days. But if you do not get that REM state of sleep after you've studied, your brain doesn't have the ability to compartmentalize it and then give you proper recall later. It literally becomes your personal assistant and puts it in files. It does for me what Elder Page does, and 2 of my other administrators, I won't mention their names here because they hate when I do, who help me organize my thoughts, which are all over the place in the course of the day. I get these whims, these ideas, these thoughts, these things, and then I push them in text, I push them in notes, I push them in emails, and I get it to them, and they compartmentalize them based on this genre of my life. And then when I say, hey, you handle this part, what about this that I put in my head before? Well, here's that information right here. What about this and this genre of my life? They'll say, here's that information right here. While I had all these wonderful brainstorms, they would take them and compartmentalize them. And then I can come back in 2 days, 3 days, or at a time of a meeting and now be proper recall in understanding that. Now, some of you, I just helped you take brain tests for the rest of your life. Now, the reason I know this so well is because my daughter had I told her myself, my daughter and my son had this trait, and sons. And what they would do is we made them do homework. But after a while, they get up into those teenage years, they would do homework, go to school, get all that stuff done when they were in elementary school, middle school, they got a little bit more busier. And it wasn't because of church. We didn't keep them in church, right? We only did church rightly. We didn't want all day, every day, all day. And then they would go home, do their homework. We'd set time apart for them to do their studies. They had to get it straight. They would sleep. We'd make sure they're in bed by a certain time. They got 8 hours of sleep. They would not cram until they got into higher learning, the high schools. And then they got these responsibilities for their actual, extracurricular functions and classes. And then that would interfere with their sleep. And you'd find them up at night. Like, why are you still up? I got a test I forgot to do some stuff. All right, cool. And we didn't think nothing of it. And I didn't think nothing of it and explained why I was not a good test taker. But even if I didn't pass the test with a really high level, you couldn't tell me 3 days later that I didn't know that information. I just couldn't recall it in that time frame because I never got the rest to let my brain neatly compact it, consolidate it, and put it into an actual cachet. This is, again, where we get the benefits of REM. This is why from sleepfoundation.org, it indicates, listen, in the REM state of being, it plays a role in memory consolidation. It plays a role in emotional processing. It plays a role in brain development. And of course, it affects you because you're going to be getting a dream state. But the element of emotional processing, many people go through trauma. Listen, y'all, can I help some of y'all? Somebody say, help me, Apostle. Come on, say it. Come on, say it.
Help me, Apostle.
Now, I'm talking on the natural side of this. You know what? I'm sorry. I should have made y'all say that. Don't say nothing y'all don't want to say. Listen. So let me help you with this. This is deep because as a counselor, I'm seeing it in a real way almost every day. And what it looks like is this. When people are going through trauma and emotions and they stay up all night because they can't sleep based on what's eating at them, based on what's bugging them, they won't sleep. Anybody know anybody like that? Are you that person when something just don't set right with you, or you know, something hurt your heart or something made you excited and you just can't sleep? You got all this energy and you feel sort of kind of anxious on one hand, then you feel sort of kind of depressed on another hand based on the good or the bad of what you've experienced, and you just can't sleep. And you're in an emotional state, and that emotional state makes you go to comfort eating, makes you go to, you know, your personal contraband escapes from your reality. You know, people start, you know, taking contraband, drinking, drugging, you know, or maybe go to work. I mean, people will just work. They can't sleep, so they'll just work. And we think, I'm gonna keep my mind busy. An idle mind is a devil's workshop, right? That is not quite what that means, but I get it where it came from. But the truth is, once you have an emotional trauma, once you've had a situation that has taken you and has you thinking all night about, oh, I'm worried to death. Oh, I'm so concerned, which you should not be in the faith, right? Be anxious for nothing. But through prayer, conversation with Elohim, and supplication, make your request known to the Father. You and I should never be anxious for anything. We should never be depressed because he said, I'll make you head, not tail. I'll make you above and not beneath, right? So when we are in fact in alignment with our bodies, and we are in not just our body, but our brain, when we are in an emotional state and we can't get sleep, it is important that you do go to sleep, because if you don't, it will not regulate your emotions. And now other people, if this was a bad thing that's got you kept up, if it was a worrisome thing that has you kept up, you will run that off on other people. You didn't sleep at all. You just couldn't sleep. I woke up every 5 minutes. I just couldn't sleep, Apostle. It just so bothered me so bad that I don't know. Then first, before I get to the spiritual, before I finish the natural part and go to the spiritual part, let me interject this spiritual part. You're worrying, and that's not what the believer is supposed to do. You're in fear, and Elohim has not given us a spirit of fear. Watch this, but of power. And this last one, a sound mind. Your mind and your brain power, if I can make that translation for you, is that when you rest in him, he figures it out for you. You might not get the answer, but he has literally compartmentalized. Your brain automatically, knows how to compartmentalize and make a cache and a filing cabinet, so you, when you need to, can recall the information after you've turned away from it. It's been filed away. You've looked at something else and come back to it, and now you got a different set of eyes. That's an internal that's an internal process that we all have, but we never maximize it in many cases because we won't sleep. And this is something that Elohim put inside of us. And we're thinking because of New York and London and Milan and France and all these places that, you know, the early bird gets the worm, and you got to stay up late. You got to burn the candle at both ends. There was a phrase that the older people that I was around used to say whenever they didn't understand, whenever they did not, thank y'all for the blessings, whenever they did not understand a conversation. So the older people, my apostle was this way, T.R. Malone. She got to a point where she got past the phase in life like we young adults do, where we think we know everything. So when things would come to her, not because she was slow, she would say, I heard you, son. No, I really heard you. Let me sleep on it. And I know many of y'all have heard that phrase, let me sleep on it. There is a real power in that. There is a real serious efficacy of accuracy and proper emotional display and choice making in sleeping on the thing. Now, I'm just talking natural right now. I got 2 more minutes to talk the natural before I switch you to the spiritual, which are directly connected. So when they would say, let me sleep on it, they may not have understood the science of it like we understand it today. This was 30 years ago, 40 years ago that I would hear this. And I'm like, okay, fine. And you sleep on it. You know, you didn't think nothing about it as a young child. I didn't have to make, household decisions. They was like, let me sleep on it. Let me, and then we think it means just let me process it. Let me process it. When you go to sleep, your brain processes it. Now, me is my brain, I am my brain, and myself is my brain. But we do it so flippantly when we say, oh, let me sleep on it, because it's a familiar phrase. But it really has a power to help you beyond what you can imagine. I'm really advocating, and I don't have the right to tell you what to do, but I will suggest to you that REM was given by Elohim to the human, so that when man, I'm about to switch to spiritual, but in the natural realm, when you literally, for that tester, okay, you get all this information, science, biology, calculus, you can get the data, you can read it, you can read every single solitary word of the textbooks that you've been given. But if you do not sleep after you've digested that, your brain can't compartmentalize it and give you the use of that data in an effective way and or proper recall. When you go to sleep, your brain shoves what needs to go into short-term memory, what needs to go into long-term memory, which needs to go into understanding pictorial, understanding taste, understanding touch, understanding feel. Your brain does that. You eat garbage in, it takes and helps to sort through the garbage and the ancillary things, and then it also helps to sort out the necessary things. Your brain does that every time you close your eyes and you enter into REM state. Your brain takes everything you've taken in and processes it. Now, if you got the proper amount of REM and let it do its job, when you wake up, you have a better command on the recall. That is amazing to me. And I didn't believe it until we were having a problem with some testing. My daughter, man, is brilliant. But, pardon me, because she was a scholastic scholar, because at the age of 8th grade, we had every college. By the time of 9th grade, we had every Ivy League college in our inbox, in our mailbox about her grades, because of all that she does. So she was involved in magnet programs, involved in her sporting events. She was, of course, involved in church. She was my main usher. And we were also doing tutoring and all that stuff like that. So she's really, really busy. And then sometimes her schoolwork would suffer because of choices and activities we as a family said okay to, but should have been a bit more, conscious about making sure she got her time to rest. But she was so smart, the stuff that she was in, she got this. And then she'd be up studying. We're proud. She's in her room, but she'd be up, and studying. And then we're like, okay, you ready? I got it. I did it all. I got everything in. I got the time to get it in. And then she'd come back and be like, I didn't do as well as I wanted to do on my test. And she'd be very furious. She'd be very upset because she didn't get what she knew she should have gotten. But she would, like me, score bad on the test. But if you had a conversation with me about the content, I'd blow you away. She'd blow you away. Like, I know the information. I just couldn't call it into the test. I couldn't recall it into the test. And it's frustrating. And I finally realized, oh my God, that was my problem in school. And so I suffered mediocre grades, though I knew I was smarter than stuff, because I was out getting high, running the streets, and then trying to cram in homeroom for a test at sixth period. You know what I mean? So I couldn't go to sleep and get recalled for 2 or 3 hours, for 5 hours. I didn't know that then. So you and I have the opportunity to make that adjustment and that switch in our lives. Now, how do we get this straight? I don't know what's going on, guys. Allergies, y'all forgive me. It sounds gross, but it just happened. I don't know. Something must be coming through my HVAC. I don't know. But I watched that with my daughter, and I clicked with it in my own memory of my own situation. I'm like, oh my goodness. And then I was given a book just a few years ago that confirmed everything that I had a knowledge of, but not an understanding of. But you knew, like, you know how you know something, but you can't confirm it. With this book and another website like Sleep Foundation began to help me understand the value scientifically of you getting REM sleep daily. Now, you might not sleep at night because you work at night, but you got to get REM when your hours are to sleep. Elohim did something very unique. So we got 24 hours in a day. You take 8 hours to work, 8 hours to enjoy your family and him, and then you got 8 hours to sleep. You will always be productive and effective. But now the world says, oh, no, you got to stay on top of it. Early bird gets the worm. You know, you got to be on a, dog eat dog world. You got to be a rat race. Whoever comes out first got to be the first one out there. So you can't be sleeping like everybody else. But guess what? You got to. Because though you may be, while you're younger, able to recall a little bit quicker, as you continue to move up the ladder and more intense in that genre, that subject matter, you got so much information in your head, you need your brain to articulate, or I should say, you need your brain to organize that information. And it does it organically. It does it naturally. You don't even know it's doing it. And that's why I'm being so dramatic in getting this point across to you, because we think we know what we're doing, and we don't. Elohim did. Now let me switch to the spiritual side. When Elohim made man, watch what he does. He makes man on day 6. He forms the kidneys, the lungs, the brain matter, the marrow. He gets the calcium deposits. He did this on day 6. Everybody say day 6. Y'all gonna help me on this one? No more. I'm only gonna ask for this. Say day 6.
Day 6.
Somebody type it into Clubhouse. Somebody type it into YouTube. Somebody type it into Facebook. Say man was made on day 6. I'm gonna do it because y'all gonna. I need some thread going. Man was made on day 6. I just did it. Man was made on day 6. Now, the day 7 is the day of rest. Let's just go to the Bible and look at what it says here. I want to make it very clear for you so you can see it like I can see it, and we all understand what Yahweh is saying here. Day 6, let's go to Genesis chapter 2. Y'all know we do this every Sabbath. This is so endearing to me that it's crazy. The more I study it, the more it blows my mind. Look, thus the heavens and the earth were finished. I'm in Genesis 2:1. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, all the host of them, and on the 7th day, Elohim ended, meaning stopped his work, which he had made. He then rested on day 7. Okay, so day 7 is identified here as the day of rest. We call it the Shabbat, the Sabbath, because that's what rest means in the Hebrew, right? Shabbat, Sabbath, a repose, a desist from working, right? Now watch what happens during day 7. Now watch. Hey, Geraldine Hughes, miss you, lady. So glad you're here. So on day 6, man was made. Now listen, y'all, pay attention. If y'all, I really hope y'all can. If you haven't been able to pay attention, at least promise me you'll go back to this broadcast and just listen to it. It'll only be an hour, so you're not going to waste a whole bunch of time. But watch this. When Elohim made man on day 6, if y'all know I'm right, give me thumbs up, say yeah, you're right, or whatever you need to do, right? You can do it in text. You ain't got to come off a mic if you don't want to, but just help me. When Elohim made man, he made man last of all of his creation. Last. So everything, the sight of the skies, the sight of the stars, the sight of the sun, the moon, the feel of the weather, the breeze, the blow, the water, the fish of the sea, the birds of the fair, the butterflies, the caterpillars, everything, the beasts, the tigers, the lions, the Bengals, the hippo, the crocodile, everything, the plants, the trees, the variation of species, and all those different things were made. And then Adam was made. Watch this, y'all. So when man was made, after Elohim made everything, days 1 through 6, he said, let us now make human. We're going to give him dominion over the topography, the earth, the edets, right? Not the edets, but the Adoma of the edets. Now watch. So everything was made, and then he made man. Listen, y'all, listen. Look at how he did this. He made man, and then he made man, caused man, when he opened man's eyes, to see everything in the garden. Everything was made before him. Listen, everything was made before him, and then everything was put before him to visually, sensually, audibly take in data. Everything he saw, none of it made sense. But he saw the lion, he saw the giraffe, he saw the bear, he saw the elephant, he saw the pelican, he saw the stork, he saw the raven, he saw the eagle, he saw the creeping things, he saw the fish of the sea, he saw the turtles, he saw everything on the topography of the earth. He saw the different species of trees, sycamore trees, the willow trees, he saw everything, the honeysuckle, he saw the gardenia, he saw everything. And yet, watch this, it couldn't process until Yahweh put him to sleep in the 7th day. Man, that thing blows my mind. I'm trying not to scream because that 7th day is your REM sleep. Elohim put man in the 7th day to rest. He's seen everything, and then Elohim in the 7th day tells man that is soft, that is hard, that is cold, that is hot, that is a good smell, that's a sour smell, that is a tree, that is a plant, that is this, that is that. Now, y'all think, oh, that's impossible. You couldn't do all that one day. We're talking about Elohim here, okay? So when it says, well, no, that ain't what the Bible said. The Bible said that Adam called everything that it was. Well, Adam didn't know what the heck anything was. Adam didn't even know who he was. He just was made. He wasn't born. He didn't have a daddy and a mommy to show him this, that, and another. He was made, fully grown. And then Elohim explained to him what he has. So imagine in type, Elohim is that brain. That 7th day is the day, that is the REM state of your week, where everything you process, everything you saw gets processed in that day. Now watch, y'all, so deep. This is so deep. Watch. So when Elohim now in sleep mode, somebody say rest mode. Nobody? No problem. In rest mode, watch what Elohim does. He compartmentalizes everything man saw. This is water, this is wet, this is hot, this is cold, this is dry, this is dirt, this is air, this is cloud, this is dew, this is you. Then he puts man to sleep. And now he can draw out of man what he needs to do the job. See, if you and I don't go to sleep after we've taken in all the data of our day, of our week, we can't be effectively used. Ishai does not come out of Adam until the 7th day and towards its end, because all the downloading Yahweh did into Adam, she was in the womb and he was giving Adam. Adam named everything. Ishai was still in him when he named them. So she's already a part of the process of recognition. Then he takes and says, it's not good for man to be all one. You just saw you just saw male and female giraffe. You just saw male and female lion. You just saw male and female Bengal. You know, it's not good that you be all one. So I'm going to take out of man the womb man and make you two. And then he presented the womb man, the female external, to the man, and man then knew, because he knew who he was, you're bone of my bone. You're flesh of my flesh. But how did he know that, y'all? Watch. How did he know that? Oh, he just woke up. All right. Okay.
Nah, that's good.
Nobody gonna talk to me today. Is that Lindo? Nobody gonna talk to me today, Lindo. He just woke up. He just woke up. He was in surgery. Anybody ever go to a surgery and they not put you deep into sleep by artificial means, anesthesia, some general anesthesia or deeper that puts you into sleep mode, makes your brain. Man was put to sleep. Elohim put man to sleep. Then he drew out of man. So when man woke up, he's like, oh, I know what you are. You're me. He told me what my flesh was before I went to sleep. I didn't realize it. But you're bone of my bone. You're flesh of my flesh. You're going to be called womb man. Yeah.
Wow.
See, this Sabbath and your daily rest, the daily rest is a microcosm of the whole of the Sabbath rest. Just like you, I don't want to talk Sabbath because everybody think I'm just going to try to push Sabbath, but Sabbath is your rest. In your rest, you can get your bearings. You can sort out your groceries. You can sort out all the y'all work differently today. We used to have, little flip cards, index cards. We make a point, we make a word, put it on the back, put the definition on the other side, and we use these flashcards, these index cards, and we use them. Yahweh is the one who, if I'm probably outdating myself terribly here, he'd shuffle those things together and then help compartmentalize them for you so you can pull them in category when you need it to. Because that's what Yahweh does with Ruach HaKodesh. See, until you start to get the word inside of you, many people, especially prophets, and I need every prophet to understand this, your job is to eat the word. Because Ruach, everybody really, I don't know why I just said prophets, but everybody really, your job is to hide his word in your heart, go to sleep on it. Y'all don't believe me? Watch spiritually. So when Elohim made man failed in the garden, remember? Well, what was the thing? Man knew he was supposed to be here on day 7, right? So what Elohim says to him is, he comes to man in the cool of every day. Why is this important, y'all? He would come to man in the cool of every day. So let's look at Genesis chapter 1. I hope this is blessing somebody, at least giving you an insight. Look at Genesis chapter 1. I'm going to put you here very quickly. Genesis chapter 1, I'm going to go down to verse number 4. All right. And Elohim saw the light that it was good. Elohim divided the light from the darkness. And then Elohim called the light daytime. He called the darkness night. I'm in verse 5 now. And the evening, and then the morning. So the evening and the morning in that order were day 1. So why is this significant, Apostle? Why are you raising this? Watch. Because when Elohim made man, he would meet man in the cool of the day. Well, the cool of the day was the evening. That meant that was the prime time of the day. Watch this. So Messiah said, man has to work while it is daylight, because nighttime comes when man cannot work. I repeat, man must work while it is day, for when nighttime comes, he can't work because he can't see. So the cool of the day is the evening. The evening is of the day is what your night time is. The evening is 12 hours. The day, the morning is daylight. That's 12 hours. And you have a 24-hour day, technically. So when Elohim would come down in the cool of the day, it was the evening of the day, the end of the daylight and the beginning of the night, that evening time. And Elohim would come down and talk with man. Somebody say prime time.
Prime time.
He would talk with man. Now, what he would do is give man his word. He would show man what happened when he was working throughout the course of the daytime, the 12 hours of the day. And he would tell man, okay, you could have did this differently. Tomorrow, I want you to do this, yada, yada. Here's the word. Here's the instruction. Here's me and you conversing. This is you. Conversation with Elohim at that time. That would be prayer time. Not, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh my God, my God, my God. That's not prayer. Prayer is an open, honest conversation with the Father. And the Father loves to communicate with his servant in the cool of the day, because it's the beginning of the day. The evening and the morning are the first day. Stay with me. I promise you, it's going to bless you. He says the evening and the morning are the first day. So when Elohim comes down in the cool of the day, somebody say the evening.
The evening.
Somebody say the prime time.
Prime time.
So the prime time is primo time. That is the preliminary. That's the premium time. And Elohim gets that. He wants to be first in everything. So the first start of the day, he gives you the instructions. Then it's dark. You can't work on the instructions. In order for the instructions to make sense, you got to go to sleep now for 7 hours. So when you wake up and nighttime is ending, when the sun comes up, your brain has compartmentalized the instructions, and now you have recall so you can do them in the daytime when there's light. Y'all not going to tell me that is not scientifically and spiritually amazing.
That is powerful.
And that's why the enemy of your faith got you so bent when you get out of work, that you are at the mall, you are at the store, you're binging on some show, you're watching championship football, basketball, soccer, football, whatever it is your spice and your specialty is. You're trapped up in getting caught up on this, that, or the other. And Elohim wants that prime time of the day, so that what he can do, that prime time of the beginning of the day. Gregorian calendar and society today has you thinking that the day ends at 12, starts at 12. Ends at 11:59 and starts at 12 a.m. All right. 11:59 p.m. a.m. 12 a.m. is the new day. It doesn't start at midnight, y'all. It starts at dusk. And Yahweh wants that time. He wants to talk with you. That's when you go into your studies. Hard to do because the way we've been conditioned and nurtured all over the globe. Once we finish working, we come in, we take our shower, take our baths, eat our food, and sit down and watch TV. Now watch this. We watch The Living Dead, Dracula, Chucky, Trump, politics. We watch Biden. We watch The View. We watch Dr. Phil. We watch and listen to earnestly, all these movies and all these activists' agenda and the terrible, murderous, maleficent news and these different reports, all this negativity during those prime times. And guess what, y'all? We go to sleep on it. That's the last thing we heard before we went to sleep. And our brain, if we make it into REM state, is calculating that. It's putting that together. And then when we wake up in the morning, TV's still on because you went to sleep with the TV watching you. And while you sleep, it's still feeding all this untoward, ungodly stuff into your psyche and into your hearing. And now when you wake up, that's been inundating your REM state. That stuff is, it's not just subliminally, but it's coming in because it's on. And that stuff is getting into your psyche, being processed by your brain while you're working in your REM state. And then you wake up wondering why you feel like a zombie, wake up wondering why you want to act like Chucky, wake up wondering why you don't mind making and calling foolishness and unrighteousness holy and doing whatever you've been hearing overnight. All that stuff is soaking into you during that stage. That's why I have a friend of mine who will, if I call them at 9 o'clock, they're in bed. I mean, they're in bed with, you know, the blindfolds. He got the blindfolds on. He done told the wife and everybody else to turn the TV off. If y'all gonna watch TV, get out my room. She got to go downstairs with her laptop. Don't be around me when I'm sleeping. Shut the door. I'm in here asleep. It ain't that he tripping. He just does not like to be disturbed. And I thought and laughed at him until I started to understand this about 8 years ago. And I'm like, oh my goodness. That's a real thing. He doesn't even know what he's doing until I talk with him. He's like, man, I didn't even know it. It was just natural for me. It just seemed unnatural not to be in silence. And he is one of the most stable, walking, talking, conversationalist, great memory. And he's 2 years older than me. And I'm like, man, I look at you and I marvel and I am amazed. And now I have to recognize that he's been doing it organically without knowing, just because it felt like that's what he needed to do. And he is the epitome of a brain feeding the body everything it needs to be done. And I'm just trying to share with you guys today that that's the way Elohim designed it. He etched it into not only your body, your brain is your Sabbath, your rest, rather, that REM state is your Sabbath, your body's daily Sabbath, that 7 hours of sleep. Think it's a coincidence? 7 hours is the recommended amount of time. If you get 5 hours, that's still the amount of power, time of power, you know, grace. 5 is the number of grace. It's not a coincidence. It really is not a coincidence. It is by design. And we're trying to keep up with the world. And we need to keep up with our rest. And what happens is, even medically, we know that Sabbath is a day that you are restored, right? Sabbath is a day that we're refreshed, right? Sabbath is a day that we are reset, right? Sabbath is a day that we can be whole and healed. That's why he tells you when you come into Sabbath, watch, look, let me show you Isaiah 58. I want to show this to you guys so you can see it. Isaiah chapter 58. It's very interesting because we talk about it every week, but we get so numb to it that we think we know it, right? Isaiah 58. Look at the board. Look at the screen. Isaiah 58 is on the screen. Verse number 13. And if you turn away your foot from Sabbath, from doing your own pleasure on my holy day, that's the seventh day. And if you'll call the Sabbath a delight, holy unto Yahweh, honorable, and will honor Elohim, watch this, not doing your own ways, nor finding your own pleasures, nor speaking your own words, then in that Sabbath, if you just resting, then shall you be delighting yourself in Yahweh. Wow. Not in your own thoughts, not in your own will, but you'll be in him. And then he says, I will then cause you to ride upon the high places of the earth. I will feed you with the heritage of Jacob, your father, for the mouth of Yahweh Tsabaoth has spoken it. That to me is one of the most powerful things we can understand. Everything that Elohim wants for us is based on us understanding. When we say, watch this, it adds a whole new meaning for me to the phrase, in all you're getting, get understanding. See, a lot of us are digesting everything from the world. Man, you got the internet at your fingertips. You have vast amount of information flood in your brain. How many of you will admit that you can get something that you sat and listened to for an hour, say this broadcast, and don't know what I'm talking about 3 hours later? Like they ask you, what'd you learn today? Well, he was talking. I was on the preceding word. But well, what you learned? It'll come to me. You're right. You know why? You need to say, let me sleep on it. I'll tell you tomorrow. Nobody, nothing.
Wow. Okay.
Let me sleep on it. Everything you have and will hear and talk and look at and touch and taste and smell today will process if you enter in the REM state of sleep. Somebody say, let me sleep on it.
Let me sleep on it. Let me sleep on it.
You don't need to be making decisions that same day if you don't have to. If you got a decision to buy a house, to buy a car, to make a business, to do this, to preach a word, to make a decision, get in all the data you can, and then say, once you got all the data, no matter how much or how little, just say, let me sleep on it. I don't trust myself right after I ate. Can I help y'all with that? Say, let me sleep on it.
Let me sleep on it. Let me sleep on it.
Here is why you want to sleep on it. Because when you sleep on it, you remove your emotions. Remember, REM state of sleep helps with emotional regulation. And many times we make decisions out of our emotions. We tell ourselves in our society, don't make decisions when you're happy, and don't make decisions when you're sad or hurt. Breathe, count to 10, walk away, come back again. An artist cramming, getting, writer's block, and the artist is losing its inspiration. You got to, making a painting or oil painting or drawing, you got to step away from that drawing, go to sleep. Your brain will process every stroke. Your brain will process every pencil mark. Your brain will process every color shift. And then when you wake back up and look at that photo again, unfinished, you can complete it because your brain has already put it together for you. And now you, man, that's amazing to me. I'm just mad I'm this day old finding it out. And so the issue becomes, before we make an excuse that, oh, well, I got too much going on in my life. Yahweh knew it. He ain't gave you more than you can bear. You have to make yourself go to sleep. Nothing should have you up worrying about anything. Nothing should have you up worrying. We ain't got to be too occupied. You live in a world that if you're dead, it's going to move on without you. What makes you think the world is your concern? You have to be your concern. And if you think you are helping the world and you ain't straight, you ain't solid, you ain't accurate, you're hurting the world. Take your behind to sleep. Make yourself rest. Because when you make yourself rest, you'll appreciate your rest. Your disposition will be better. Your engagement with others will be better. Your interactions with yourself will be better. Your perspective and perceptions will be cleaner and keener. All of these things affect your definitions. Your recall of data will be better. But we're rushing through life. Skimming through life. Oh, I gotta do this. I gotta do that. I gotta do it. No, you don't. Sit your behind down. Yahweh got you. If he don't got you, then leave the faith of Christendom. What did he say? Right. If Elohim ain't got you, stop acting like he do. Stop professing he got you. Go ahead, leave Christendom. Go somewhere else. They that come to the Father must believe that he is. And he's a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. Listen, here's another thing you need to understand about dream state. Somebody say dream state.
Dream state.
Dream state.
Listen, the devil does not give you dreams. Evil does not give you dreams. Just like there is no grim reaper, there is no death angel. Elohim is over life and death. He put you in the earth, he gonna pull you out the earth. Ain't no grim reaper. Also, the enemy of faith doesn't give you dreams. Now, you can inundate your mind with all the negativity you experience and worry yourself to death over it in a figure of speech, but the enemy can't give you dream. Elohim gives you your dreams. Listen, stay with me. In your dream state, in your REM state and phase of being, the dreaming is triggered by Elohim's presence in your psyche. Watch, you get dreams from Elohim. So if you don't enter into REM dream state, you lessen the opportunities Elohim has to operate and deal with you about your life while you're asleep. Because the issue we find within Christendom, the issue we find within our without even faith, is this. We are so busy doing what we want to do. Watch this. We don't get a chance to dream. Dreams are instructions of Elohim. The enemy can't give them to you. So if I'm not entering in my dream state, I'm not giving Elohim the chance to visit me when my flesh, which really tries to control me all day long, is asleep. When you enter in an REM state, your fleshly nature is sleeping. But Yahweh is the only one then at that moment can help you hear him clearly. And if you should ever read his word before you pass off to sleep, turn off SNL, turn off whoever the late night host is, turn off whatever your last CNN news feed was before you go to bed, and let the word, I don't care if you let it turn the lights off, put those blinders on your eyes and let the word read into your hearing. Let that be the last thing you hear. You heighten the chance and the probability that Elohim sees you as pleasing and delighting in him. And then he will cause you tomorrow morning to ride upon the high places. He will cause you tomorrow to feed your family with the heritage of Jacob, because the mouth of Yahweh has said it. So resting is synonymous with Sabbath rest. Do you understand that? And that time of Sabbath rest is when Yahweh is in the earth waiting for those who say they know him to come unto him and stop your labor, stop your work. Same thing is true with that 7 hours of sleep in your 24-hour day. Yahweh wants you to come. You got to come. Whoever comes, pardon me, whoever comes, drinking in the air, whoever comes unto him, he will give you rest. Man, I should have had a V8. Did I just hear that? Right. Come unto me. I will give you rest. So that's why Yeshua said, work while it's day, because night comes when man can't work. And if Elohim comes down in the prime time of the day to meet with his human, to give him instructions about his day and for his next day, and those be the last words we hear when we go to sleep, our brain has the word of Elohim, and now it can do what David cried. Once I get it in my head, once I hear it from his word, once I'm reading it in his word, my brain, when I'm sleeping, will deposit it in my heart. He'll deposit it in my psyche, and then my brain will trigger everything inside of my body, the military, the medical arena in my body, to go down and start healing myself, healing your body. Pus starts working, blood starts flowing, marrow starts generating new life for red blood cells. All these different things happen when your body don't have your brain and your flesh up trying to run the world and exasperate its energy. When your body rests, your body knows how to heal itself. We need the physicians. They are important more than you probably care to admit. But your body, on a day when there are no major issues, can keep your body in a good state of healing when you got in that condition of rest, and your brain knows exactly what your fingers need. Your brain knows exactly what your toes need. Your brain knows exactly what your elbows need. And if you're not getting a signal through, the more you rest, the more you heal your nerve endings. The more you rest, the more you put your body back in proper condition. The more you rest, you bring your blood pressure down. The more you rest, you bring your sugar levels down. The more you rest, you bring your hypertension into alignment. The more you rest, you give Elohim and your body chance to deal with your gout, your glaucoma, all of this stuff. Now, do you need the external help because you've gone so far in that condition that you're infirm? Yes, but your doctor is then going to give you the jump start and then tell you to go to sleep. It blew my mind. I'm like, get rest. And sometimes rest may mean get away from your family because they're the reason you're stressed out. So come to ICU. We're going to put you up in our hotel and nobody can come up here and visit you until we have given you a determined amount of rest that your body can recuperate, at least to some sense of semblance of order. Y'all think that's a coincidence? All right. I know y'all can't talk to me. So get your rest, people. And listen, no matter what it is, the phrase, when people are talking to you and try to sell you something, people are talking to you, trying to push their narrative. People are talking to you, trying to give you a different doctrine of the word of Elohim. Let them know, hey, I heard you. And you did. You heard it. It's etched in your mind. You can't get rid of it. But you need Yahweh. You need your brain as he designed it to compartmentalize and give you long-term, short-term memory on all of this stuff. So tell them when you're done with conversations, don't let people rush you into answers. Say, let me sleep on it. Especially when it's a life-changing decision. Don't rush. Don't rush. Don't rush. Be still and know Elohim. Filter. When you literally go to sleep after you've had a deep emotional conversation with your spouse, with your children, with your boss, with your partner in your company, with your partner for life, with your ministry, with your whatever it is, you know, before you make a hasty decision, sleep on it. Pray that it's during a Sabbath. Yes, Lord, let me rest. That's a start to you filtering everything in your life through the word. Because when you're not talking, the word in you will start bubbling up. I hope this is helping somebody today. Y'all, I know y'all at work, so y'all can't say nothing back. I find that amazing. All right. So Grace says, I'm talking to her. All right, Grace, I hear you. That's good to know. If you are out there in Clubhouse and YouTube, feel free to drop a note. You know, hey, I get it. Somebody say, if you can, just type it in. Let me sleep on it. Your son or your daughter want you to do something for me, baby. Let me sleep on it. Your spouse wants you to be somewhere and do something. They got a new idea. Let me sleep on it. We're going to table that tomorrow. Whatever it might be, if you don't understand something, don't let anybody rush it. Well, you got to understand this. You need to know this now. Let me sleep on it. Hey, that goes for these ministries. When you're with us teaching in the classes of Bible Book Club, our Bible studies for DKM, or this Proceeding Word program, which we're just about every day of the week in the teaching, and you're like, I never heard that before. What y'all gonna say? Let me sleep on it. Where did he get that from? Somebody gonna say, let me sleep on it. No, nothing. Okay.
Let me sleep on it.
That's all right. Let me sleep on it. The doctors give you a report that you don't understand. How did I get that? You know what? I heard what you said, Doc. Let me sleep on it. Why is that important? Because if you sleep on it, Elohim visits the REM phase and stage of time in your 24-hour day.
Man, that's so powerful.
Ain't that deep?
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
So you not entering into REM daily is as bad as you not entering into the 7th-day Sabbath weekly.
That's a mind blow. Wow.
And you wonder why you come in, like me and Minister Wanda used to come in sliding into third base. Like me and Minister Gregory used to come in sliding. You remember we used to talk about this? Who was that? Jasmine. You used to sliding. I slid in. I'm in here. You know what I mean? Because we don't rest in the 7 days. And that means we've set a trend. So we will do the same thing on the 7th day. We have to make ourselves rest. Nobody can make you unplug but you. And Yahweh invites that. If you unplug, watch this. If you come unto me, all ye that labor, I will give you rest. But you got to come. I'm not going to take the plug and pull it. You got to come. I'm not going to stop you from your work and you feel like that you need to do that. I told you, if you come to me, I'll make you ride upon the high places. I'll feed you. And if you doing that because you think that the only way I can eat, I can't eat if God don't, if God ain't going to fix it. I got to eat. I got to fix this myself. Oh, okay. Okay.
It's a matter of my will
over his, and his is for you to rest. Watch this. Watch this. I know my thoughts concerning you. Thoughts of good and not of evil, thoughts to give you an expected end. Come rest with me. Let me give you new beginnings. When you rest with the Father, even in the weekly or the daily action of entering into REM, it is an equivalent on a larger scale, smaller scale of entering into the 7th-day Sabbath, and then the Moedims of your every year. He's always had a plan, y'all. Well, y'all, if you're on Clubhouse, when we get off of this, let us know. When you get off of this, let us know what you think about it. Give a comment on the Clubhouse. Do that little chat thing I think they're trying to get y'all to do. If you're on Facebook or you're on YouTube, let us know if this thing affected you, impacted you in any way, something making you go, ooh, ah, wow, didn't think about it, though I knew about it. You ain't told us nothing new. Y'all know I'm not telling y'all nothing new. All of y'all have heard this before. I'm not telling y'all nothing new, but it's hitting me different. I mean, it's really hitting me different. And many people, I get brain fog. I can't remember what I was thinking. Go to sleep. Practice getting your sleep. Practice getting your rest. I remember watching online, a woman was 102 years old, just as sharp and crisp as anything. She said, I made sure I slept 8 hours a day. As I got older, she said, I make sure I sleep 8 hours a day. And when she gets up, she's just as capable of handling her own affairs, mentally sharp and crisp, dressed to the nines, and she can still make her own money. She set herself up. She's in good shape. She just gets her rest. You want to add a whole new conversation about beauty sleep? You ain't got to be ugly, baby. Go to bed. You don't have to, you ain't got to grow ugly. Go to sleep. Get your
I'm so you're a mess. That's too funny.
You ain't got to get your beauty sleep, get your beauty rest. How about that? Yahweh made you beautiful and said, if you get some rest, you'll stay beautiful. Somebody say, let me sleep on it. Yeah, that's it. Actually, Minister Wanda, it does make it hit different. She said it makes it mean something different when you say it gives a new meaning to rest for your soul. Yeah, real talk. All right. Now, here's the last thing I want to share with y'all. This is very important. Well, we're done with that part of let me sleep on it. I hope you guys are typing it in the threads all over that we have here. Brothers, you as well, sisters. Just remember, let me sleep on it. Yahweh wants you to get your rest every single solitary day. Don't not get it. All right. Get your at minimum 5 hours of sleep a day, because it's going to take you 3 hours to enter into REM and then you need to be in REM for 5 hours. I don't care. Well, I got babies. I got other problems. You ain't got no problem that's above your health. Nope. Well, you don't know my situation. I might not, but I promise you there's a solution to your situation if you'll seek his word. And you will have to have the discipline to shut people out and off. If you got people calling your house around the clock, they can because of these daggone cell phones. Yes, I said daggone. These dad-nabbit daggone cell phones and tablets and internet, and everybody got access to you. Put your phone on the do not disturb. Put it in your, at least Apple does. I don't know about them Androids because God made Apple. So the Apple phone, like God made the brain. So God made Apple. So the Apple phones, they have an actual ability to set the alarm to shift your phone right into do not disturb if you set a time that you would usually be sleeping. And if you go ahead and give yourself a 6 to 7 hour window, the phone will go into do not disturb mode. And if they're trying to get you because it's an emergency, they can, but the average person will go to voicemail until they check with you when you wake up. That's what God did when he gave us. He made, God made the Apple. I ain't saying he made the Apple phone, but God made Apple. So you can turn your phone off. Now, here's something I want y'all to learn today. For those of you who are celebrating this day, I'm hoping that it's been over for many of you. I just want to make sure y'all clear about something. I've always had a problem with this time of the year. I call it, I call it, it's just the holidays of man, and they try to spiritualize it. But I always had a problem with the enemy. If y'all on Clubhouse, y'all can go over to Facebook, or if we can get this printed up on, I want y'all to see. Here's my prayer for y'all today. For those of y'all, some of y'all married, still trying to get, these Valentine days, and I'm gonna mess it up. I'm gonna hit it on the day of it. Yeah, I'm gonna mess it up. Listen, there is something inherently wrong with an AI image baby angel. Y'all know there are no baby angels, right? With wings, flying around with a quiver and an arrow and trying to aim it at your heart. Now, I didn't do as well as I had preferred to do in biology, but they did tell me that if your heart gets punctured, being the center of the blood pumping that goes on in your body, or at least one of the main thoroughfares of distributing blood, if somebody shoots me in my heart with an arrow, in theory and in actuality, that is an attempt on my life, or at least subpar quality of life if I should survive the impaling. So here's my prayer for y'all today, that no weapon from stupid Cupid will prosper. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Y'all keep the shield of faith up. Y'all get the shield of faith up, okay? So that stupid Cupid, it's just stupid for Cupid to be running around here with an arrow shooting it at your heart. I didn't give him permission. I don't know how that could be ever in any way endearing. Why do you want me to bleed out? I don't understand the holiday, but this is my prayer for all of y'all. If you're watching out there online, if you come on the page, I posted up the tile so y'all can see it. We always remind y'all that, keep your shield of faith up so Cupid's arrow don't hit you. I don't even know who Cupid came with. Who Cupid a part of? I know God ain't make no baby angels, y'all. I'm sorry. Ain't no baby angels walking around with no arrows going on in this place today. All right. Y'all tired of me? I'm sorry. I hope that it helped y'all a little bit. I hope you guys appreciate the fun. And we'll look to see you guys on another day. All right. But remember, one thing about this element of faith, Elohim designed power and function of sleep for the human being, and its ultimate benefit to the children of his kingdom is restoration. Sabbath and your daily sleep help you do that. It's a reflection of Shabbat, where Elohim blesses, creates, pulls out of you, helps you to remember, and causes you to prosper. Hoping that you guys enjoyed yourself. Make it your business to sleep on it. This is Apostle V.W. Jones. We hope to see you again soon. Have a wonderful day.
This is the place for you. Don't need to complicate it. It's best to keep it basic. Open the book, the word itself approved. He's Alpha and Omega, the answer since the early ages. What you should do is learn about the greatest. Just so you know, our door is always open. Let's study together instead of debating. Share our differences. Let love heal all that's broken.